Hey guys, today I'm going to be reading this book called Lost and Found. Once there was a boy who found a penguin at his door. The boy did not know where it had come from, but it began to follow him everywhere. The penguin looked sad, and the boy thought it must be lost. So, the boy decided to help the penguin find its way home. He checked in the Lost and Found office, but no one was missing a penguin. He asked some birds if they knew where penguins came from, but they ignored him. Some birds are like that. The boy asked his duck, but the duck floated away. He didn't know either. That night, the boy couldn't sleep for disappointment. He wanted to help the penguin, but he wasn't sure how. The next morning, he discovered that penguins come from the South Pole, but how could he get there? He ran down to the harbor and asked the big ship to take them to the South Pole, but his voice was much too small to be heard over the ship's horn. Together, the boy decided that he and the penguin would row to the South Pole, so the boy took his rowboat out and tested it for size and strength. He told stories to the penguin to pass the time. Then they packed everything they would need and pushed the rowboat out to sea. They rowed south for many days and many nights. There was lots of time for stories, and the penguin listened to every one, so the boy would always tell another. They floated through good weather and bad, when the waves were big as mountains. Until finally they came to the South Pole. The boy was delighted, but the penguin said nothing. Suddenly, it looked sad again as the boy helped it out of the boat. Then the boy said goodbye and floated away. When he looked back, the penguin was still there, but it looked sadder than ever. It felt strange for the boy to be on his own. There was no point telling stories now because there was no one to listen except the wind and the waves. Instead, he just thought. And the more he thought, the more he realized he'd made a big mistake. The penguin hadn't been lost. It had just been lonely. Sadly, the boy set off for home. But then the boy saw something in the water ahead of him. Closer and closer he got until he could see. The penguin! And so the boy and his friend went home together, talking of wonderful things all the way. So I was thinking about this book and how I was feeling. I know some of you, like me, you're okay by yourself. You don't necessarily need a lot of people. But, I think at this point, everybody's probably a little lonely sometimes. So whether or not you're in a house filled with lots of siblings and family members who drive you crazy but you love, or whether you are by yourself because you're an only child or because everybody's busy, or because your parents are working, or any number of reasons why you're mostly in your room by yourself, I think it's okay to feel lonely in either of those scenarios. And I was thinking about what do I miss most about all of our time together. And I was thinking about the boy in the story, and on his way home, how he realized there was no point in telling any stories anymore because The penguin wasn't in the boat with him. And that, my friends, is how I feel right now. There's no point in telling any of my goofy stories because you guys aren't with me. So sometimes I just talk to the camera and hope that you're listening. I wonder if any of you feel that way. Well, if you do, you can always message me on Dojo or Canvas or email or Google Doc or any other weird way that you have found to get a hold of me. I do love hearing from you, and I hope that if you are ever lonely, that it only lasts a little while, and then you find a friend one way or another to tell stories with. Right? Have a great day, guys.